Hey guys, and welcome to your daily mobility flow. Hope you got your coffee. Hope you're ready to flow. We're going to start with one leg straight out. We're going to go for that groin first. So we're just going to let that foot sink away. Keep your upper body on for support. And then we're just going to kind of sit back and then walk those hips forward. Just going to work back and forth on that hip mobility. This is probably, other than your ankles, this is probably the single most beneficial squat. Improve your squat stretch. This hip mobility. Just let that foot sink away. You should be able to find that stretch as you sit back. Kind of set it in the front position, work back. Don't force anything with this though. Just take your time. Find the stretch. That's all you're trying to do. Change your angle, find those corners. Alright, let's change sides. Nothing too long here. It's not huge muscles we're going after. Longest muscle in the body. It's called your sartorius. Runs down the inside of your leg. Well, crosses over your leg. It's like a big S. That's what makes it so long. But the gracilis is the muscle that runs down the inside of your leg. Working back and forth. Should have done a little squat testing before we started this today to see how much better squatting feels after doing this rather than just doing it. Good. All right, now we're gonna go both. Spread those knees, elbows down. Just gonna let the feet sink in. Sorry, the knees sink into the ground. We're gonna work back and forth. Attacking kind of both sides of the groin on this one. Again, key part of being able to squat really well is being able to drive your knees apart as you sit down. Knees go wide, create space for your butt to sit down in between your feet instead of back behind your feet. And that is really helpful for good squat patterning. You gotta get that knee out. Mobility. It's not the funnest stretch in the world, but it is very useful. I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling it. All right, let's come out of that. We're gonna rest for just a second. Ooh. All right, hit the bottom of the squat. So we're gonna sit back into the bottom of the squat, elbows on the inside of the knees, press those knees apart. You may feel a little stronger in this position than you normally do because of that hip mobility we just did. We're just gonna kind of work those knees out, back and forth. Again, chasing space in between the knees. The biggest difference in this one and the one we just did is that the feet are closed chain now. They're attached to the floor. And so they're kind of set in our squat stance. So we're really making the biggest change on our squat stance. Our actual squat positioning. Okay, let's shift the weight. We're going to press that knee down to the ground. We're going to work the ankle. Turn this mobility flow into a improve your squat flow. Get a couple of waves, both sides of the feet, and then change. forth. Let's go back, first side. Switch, last one. Good. Now we're gonna sit, try to drive that knee as close to the ground as you can here. And then we're gonna change the other side. So I'm pushing that knee forward, trying to get as close to the ground as possible. Easier seen than done, I'm sure. Play around with your chest position, whether that's like chest down. Further back you can get that chest, the more you get to stretching this hip flexor. Flow back and forth. When this knee comes down, drive that other knee out like this position. Work back and forth, knee down, plant that knee now, drive the other knee away, plant the knee, push away. Good, and last one. Go and rest. Oh. Let your knees relax for a second. We're going to get into some 90-90 hip flips. So knees 90-90, outside of one knee down, inside of the other knee down. We're going to flip to the other side. Chest nice and tall, good strong posture. Just going to slowly walk those side to side. Twisting back and forth. Again, good strong posture at the top. It's all about the hips today. All about the hips. That's where the vast majority of athletic movement comes from. Your hips, hip flexion extension. Whether you like throwing a baseball, shooting a basketball, jumping, running, hip flexion extension. A couple more reps. Almost done. Get one more in. Okay, last thing, nobody's favorite except for mine. We're gonna sit back on those feet. This may be where you are. Maybe here just mostly working on the ankle, but I'd like you to try to kind of work back and get this hip flexor stretch if you can. Okay, if you really struggle with this position, I would advise working on it. You should be able to sit like this, no problem. But you can stretch your hip flexors this way and just do them one at a time instead. So if that's an issue for you, go here and get this stretch in. If not, we're gonna sit back, sink into this. And then I want you to turn your glutes on, so I squeeze my butt, lift my hips, and that's what's gonna make me really find that hip flexor stretch, even without going down further. Even if I'm up here, if I open my hips up, drive this hip forward, then I catch that stretch. So you can do it from this position too. You don't have to chase a deeper position. What you want is hip flexion. Sorry, what you want is hip extension. So work your hip flexors side to side. Don't get, as always, especially with this one, don't get into a position you can't get out of. It's not smart. See, if I just roll my chest, drop that hip forward, I get a big stretch right here. And I can just switch sides. All I'm doing is using the floor to trap my knee into flexion so that then I can work on my hip. You can do the same thing here with your hand. Use your hand to trap the knee and then drive the hip. It doesn't have to be reclining hero, although positions like reclining hero really tell you if you're making progress. Doing this all day, you may stretch, but you'll never know very well if you're actually getting more mobile. But if you're constantly trying reclining here, if you're working on that, even if it's every so often, then you can kind of start to understand, oh, I'm making progress. I couldn't do that before. Oh, now I can do this. Oh, I used to feel really miserable. Now it's not that bad anymore. We get those kind of benchmarks for success, and it's really important knowing that things are changing. And that's what's important about trying things like reclining hero, even though there are other options. That's your daily mobility flow. Thanks for being here. Have a wonderful weekend, or a week if you happen to be going into your work week. And I'll see you guys on Monday for mobility flow number 50.